about to embark on an adventure 6 months in the making. Recently, I have taken on a love and utter fascination for overlanding. For the longest time, living vicariously through the adventures of some of my favorite creators like David from Off the Grind, Kevin from Lifestyle Overland, and Brad from Trail Recon, just to name a few. And now, here I was, face to face with the Utah wilderness, trekking off on my very own adventure, full of hope, excitement, and wonder. By the end, it would leave me exhausted and dirty, but also fulfilled and yearning to see more of what's out there. This was our first overlanding trip, but I know it definitely will not be the last. Okay, we are right outside Thompson Springs. This is basically where we're picking up the BDR outside of Moab, just filling up on gas, making sure we're full, and we're about to hit it. All right, let's go. We would meet up with the BDR near the old Sego Cemetery just outside the ghost town of Sego, entering about 3/4 of the way through what is Section 3 that runs from Moab to Green River. Sego, which was the third iteration of the town's name, was a coal mining town from 1910 through 1955, plagued with issues almost since its inception. From lack of water to miner strikes due to lack of pay, the coal mine faced its final blows after a series of fires, one in 1949 which destroyed the mine's tipple, and another the following year which destroyed even more of the mine's equipment. Then, when locomotives converted to diesel, Sego's fate was sealed.
Diesel locomotives are strong. They pull long trains of heavy freight cars over mountain passes.
Coupled with a flash flood that all but wiped out the town in 1950, the remnants of Sego were sold off in 1955 to a Texas company whose intentions were to attempt to explore for oil and natural gas. Any remaining homes and the schoolhouse were moved to nearby Thompson, and just like that, Sego was gone. An underground coal seam fire has been burning here for decades, and it is said that smoke still rises from some of the deserted mine shafts. On this day, we did not notice the smoke, but we did stop by the cemetery to pay respects to the pioneers that worked hard to help build this country. So our first little stop here is at the Sego Canyon Cemetery. We wanted to just check it out. This is basically the start of the dirt, as you saw. We are going to head off in that direction over there and find camp. First night camp is going to be somewhere near Smith Cabin. I'll pop up a map so you can see that. And yeah, I'm so excited to get started, but looks like you can't go in the cemetery, but here I'll flip you around so you can see. It looks like one point you used to be able to go inside. The sign kind of alluded to the fact of being respectful, to everyone's graves and leaving coins on the headstones. But there is a fence all the way around now, so you can't go in. So that means people ruined it, of course. But you can see, like, this headstone's really close to the fence. You can see where people were leaving change on the headstones. I love old cemeteries like this. They're so cool, and it just makes me think about the people that are buried here and what their life was like over 100 years ago in this area. Like, it's difficult to imagine, but would be pretty cool to see. All right, we're gonna get on the road to camp.
As far as I know, yeah.
Just because there's a sign right here by this counter that says no trespassing private property.
Oh yeah, we drove through it.
Okay, I mean it's on the trails on.
Yeah, exactly. We're doing the. Are you doing the BDR?
No, I was just gonna
Cruise around. Yeah, we got on it way back at the Sago Cemetery, and it came all the way around. So no, there was no gates or closed, nothing.
Okay, cool. There was another one up in this other canyon. It goes through somebody's property. And
I think you can drive through it. It's just obviously
gate on it.
Yeah, I can see the property line right here on the map.
yeah.
So this is BLM and this is somebody's property, but you can drive through it.
Okay, yeah. That very first road, yeah, it said stay on the road. And then when I just saw this sign right here, I was like, I don't want to get shot in my butt.
Yeah, no, you're good.
That's always been our understanding. You can go through, just don't stay on their property unless it's public.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, have a good one. Babies.
Oh, you're so pretty with that face. Hello. Hi, Mama.
Okay, well,
And you're pooping. Bye.
Is that all your poop back there?
I knew there was gonna be cows.
Okay, I am a sweaty mess. We made it to our first campsite near Smith Cabin. I wanted to stop and look at it. I should have took pictures, but it looks like, I don't know. My understanding is that it's on public land, but there was like an RV set up. They had horses sitting there. So I don't know if something's changed. I'll have to look it up and see. If I find anything, I'll put some information on the screen here. I could not find any information online indicating the property had become private. However, from the road, the RV seemed to be parked here, right in front of the cabin. We could also see horses in the pens seen here. We decided not to chance it and just continued along the route to camp and find out what's going on. But yeah, we just kind of bypassed it and came to camp. And this was one of the sites I had picked out in this area. We were a little dubious, just it wasn't easy getting up here. Let me show you. Here's the road we just came up. All the way, I don't know if you can see it on the GoPro, but you can see the road all the way down there. It's not super level, but we got it. I even managed to get it level front to back so we don't have to disconnect in the back there. But I'd say we got a pretty good site here. I'm actually glad we were able to stay up here. We were thinking about maybe not, just because it isn't a super flat area. So, you know, for something like a camper like that, it's not easy to get it level. You don't want to sleep on level, but we did. But check this out, man. Right next to a canyon. And just views for days. So we pretty much got everything set up here. We're just kind of chilling out now. It is hot. The car said 92 when we pulled up here. We've been up here for about, I don't know, 30, 45 minutes now, but I doubt it's cooled down any, but I'm sure it'll get nice and cool here once the sun goes down. So we're just gonna chill out for a little bit before we make some dinner. Day 2, Utah BDR. Man, these little flies around here were crazy last night. They finally calmed down about the sun went down, but man, they are out and about ASAP this morning. So we are trying to make second night of camp. We got about 140 miles of driving to do today, and we might have to make an offshoot to get some extra groceries because I miscalculated the days. So we are actually going to be spending an extra day out in the wilderness. We have reservations for a regular campground near Salt Lake and then one more on the way home, but miscalculated the day, so we get an extra day in the wilderness. But anyway, we're gonna hit the road. Let's go.
Day 2 would have us leaving camp and rejoining Section 4 of the BDR. The remainder of Section 4 follows part of the Old Spanish Trail, a historical trade route that connected the northern settlements of New Mexico with those of Los Angeles and Southern California. It would also take us past the historical landmark Head Rock, used by the Gunnison expedition in 1853, and many after as an indicator that they needed to start heading west rather than continuing north. As we drove along, it was amazing to imagine pack trains full of traders traversing this landscape, hoping to sell their wares and just survive the Wild West. As we detoured to Price at the end of Section 4 to refill on groceries and gas, we would return to start Section 5 and watch the landscape change drastically. Night 2, we would find camp up on the northern hills of Argyle Canyon.
Well, first tragedy, I guess, minor tragedy of the trip. Got a puncture in the tire, so currently filling it back up. Thanks to the handy Rhino tire repair kit that we have. I was able to just plug the hole, hopefully. And that way we avoid having to put the spare on. We'll see if the plug holds once I reinflate it. It should. It wasn't a bad puncture, so it went in the hole pretty good. So we'll wait for the tire to reinflate and see if we can get back on the road. Well, fast forward a little bit. The hits keep on coming. A few miles down the road from the flat tire incident, now both my front TPMS sensors have errors and are not reading. So just something to keep an eye on. I'm hoping maybe it's just a bumpy road and we shut the car off and it'll reset, I hope. But we took a little offshoot off the BDR to come look at the Little Grand Canyon. So let's take a look at that. The Little Grand Canyon, carved out over some 40 to 60 million years by the San Rafael River, is part of a greater area in Utah known as the San Rafael Swell. The canyon offers tons of outdoor activities, including camping, hiking, or you can even do a float down the river. I lived in Arizona for the better part of 15 years and never got to see the Grand Canyon, but Melissa has, and she said this was a pretty close second. As I approached the northern rim, I stood in awe, staring into the depths of something that, despite being right in front of me, did not seem real. We enjoyed lunch by the canyon, but soon enough it was time to pack it up and get back on the trail. We are currently hoofing it happened to them. I don't know if they shook loose or what, but after a little bit of driving, they're back on. The tire plug seems to be holding. We had to air it back up a little bit, but since we've done that, it seems that it is holding. So we are hightailing it towards Wellington. We are going to shoot off to Price. We need to get some supplies for groceries, especially since we didn't really account for the extra day in the wilderness. So we need to get a little bit of extra food and a couple of like stuff like paper towels and stuff. So anyway, we'll see you guys later. We made it to campsite 2, night 2. A little further in than I wanted to be, but what I had originally marked on Gaia was not a campsite. It was a road. It was a BLM road. So we had to go further up the road, but finally found a nice spot here. We're way up high. I am sweating because that Utah sun is hot. What's really awesome, so I think with a lot of people that come to this area of the country, especially overlanders, we're really wanting to see a bighorn sheep. And I know that they are very elusive, but there are a lot of hoof prints up here that are definitely not horse and definitely too small to be a cow. And there are pellets everywhere like that. Let me walk back over here where I saw the hoof prints. So, I mean, who knows what the night will bring, but I feel like here you go. Look at those hoof prints right there. There's some more there. Those are kind of hard to see, but they go off that way. There's a ton of them, like even right where our campsite is. So fingers crossed that maybe once we're kind of settled in and quiet, that some might pass through here. That would be amazing. For now, we're gonna get dinner rolling because we rolled in a little later than we wanted to. It's actually fortunate that I miscalculated the days, because my original spot that we wanted to get to today, it was still another 70 miles from here. We only made about 75, 80 miles today. I'd have to go back on Gaia. I'll probably put it on the screen. So yeah, this actually worked out really good to have the extra day. So we are gonna get dinner started. The sun keeps coming in and out, but tonight was supposed to be a shower night using my new, well, not new, it's been on the camper for a while. I've only used it once, but this will be the first time we both use it. Let me see if I can show you up there. So that's made out of 4-inch ABS pipe, a little loop there. Calculating the volume, it gives me about 8 gallons of water. I know the last time that I used it, the water was nice and warm. Once it was sitting out in the sun, if I had to venture a guess, it was probably a good 95 degrees. So I'm hoping these clouds go away. I can't quite tell which way they're moving, but the sun keeps peeking in and out. Hopefully that's enough to keep it warm. I might be taking a cold shower because I am ready for an actual shower. We just kind of did wipes last night. Tonight was going to be a shower night. Then the last night camping out in the wild was going to be another, kind of using the body wipes. And then the next night after that, we're at a regular campground so we can take a shower. So we'll see how it goes. I'll let you know.
While not the easiest campsite to get to, it was absolutely beautiful views in all directions. The thing with Argyle Canyon is there are not many options for public land. There are very few roads that branch off towards the north side. Luckily, this spur led us to a fantastic spot. I'm happy to report the sun came out long enough for us both to have nice warm showers. I'm not so fortunate to report, to our knowledge, we didn't have any wildlife come through camp after we were all tucked in for the night. Nightfall came and we could hardly wait to see what Utah would deliver us the next day. Little did we know, we'd run into our biggest and most nerve-wracking obstacle yet.
Day 3 underway, just packed up camp and we are headed back down to meet up with the BDR. We're gonna see how far we can get today. Original camp is only about 40 miles away, so we're gonna try and get further than that, and that'll put us close to where Guy is still showing snow. That way we won't have long of a drive to know if we'll have to turn around and take main roads back to Jordanelle State Park. So we're gonna
Day 3, our last full day on the BDR, would have us making our way back down that spur road to meet back up with Section 5. Our goal? To make it to Current Creek Reservoir. That would put us close to where the snow layer on Gaia was still showing some major depth. Finding camp near the reservoir would give us quick access to find out if we'd be able to take the route to our intended exit or be forced to turn around and return to pavement permanently. We would find out just how accurate that data is as we would hit snow a little sooner than anticipated. This was the first spot that we encountered snow that was actually across the road. There were well-worn tire tracks through it, so I kept myself in line with those and coasted through. However, immediately after that, there was another patch with no tire tracks. Looking back, I was definitely not carrying enough momentum. I tried to back up to get that momentum, but each time the trailer was sliding off to the side more and more, until eventually the Bronco just sank. I unfortunately did not record any of the recovery efforts, but Melissa managed to snap a photo that I'll show at the end. Got stuck. So we are now backtracking to 191. Road 191 is the only way around. And we're gonna kind of cut over to Soldier Summit, Utah. Probably fill up on gas by the time we get there. And then we're gonna try and get still to our campsite. We just gotta kind of take a roundabout way. But I tell you what, that snow layer on Gaia is pretty accurate because we got stuck in that snow pretty much right at the beginning of where that layer showed there was going to be snow. Which also goes to tell me that the other section shows even more snow that we were hoping to get through, so we know we're not going to get through that. So we're going to at least try and get to this campsite, kind of go around and meet back up with the BDR on the road that the
the actual GPX file shows to leave the BDR to go to Soldier Summit. So we're gonna go up that and then try and get up to this last campsite, and then we'll just backtrack out of there to main roads to our campground. So that'll probably be where our BDR adventure ends. I would say probably another month is probably the best time to be sure that there's absolutely no snow. I'll tell the whole story of what happened with the winch in a little bit. Well, hey, we made it to our last wild campsite before we head back to regular campgrounds. So back to the story of getting stuck. We got stuck in the snow. We made it through a couple patches, then just sunk down into some pretty deep stuff. So I was like, sweet, first chance to use our winch since we got it 2 years ago. Run out the winch line, hook around a tree. It was kind of far away. Well, yours truly ran the winch line out too far. And when we went to actually start winching the car out, it basically ripped the winch line out of the little holder that holds the end on the roller. So I had to rig up a little hook because it's the downfall of this. I like the fact that I hope the wind is not too terrible. It's really windy up here. If it's terrible, maybe I'll just put some text on the screen with some nice music. But we have the rough country hidden winch, so it sits down here. If we want to put any other winch on here, because we have the wild track, we have adaptive cruise control, which is this right here. You got to put in a relocation kit, which relocates that sensor up in the grill, and then you can mount a winch. Obviously, I'd have to change a bumper because I don't think a winch can be mounted to the factory bumper. I haven't looked into it. But anyhow, because of where the winch is located, you cannot get to the top of it. The roller is back in there. If I would have had something to take the fair lead off, maybe it would open that space up bigger and I could get my hand in there. But I could not. I could not get my hand in there. So let me see if I can find my little tool that I used. I think I buried it already in our recovery bag. Basically what I did was I took 2 tent stakes that happened to be out. Took some electrical tape, taped them together to make a nice long hook. And I basically had to feed the line over, reach in and hook it out. All told, it took about an hour for us to finally winch out. Then we had to turn around and go back through the snow. So I was really worried. I'm like, please don't let me get stuck again, because going back the other way where we came, there really wasn't any trees close by to winch off of. So we barely made the one that we did this time. So lesson learned, use your recovery straps and run those out as far as they will go first, then run your winch line out. Most of you probably know that already, that do this regularly. But this is really our first boondocking, being off grid for this many days, really using the gear that we have, seeing, what we have, does it work? Is there anything that we don't need? So we'll probably do kind of an evaluation when we get back home and just see, what is it that we don't need? So yeah, we are getting set up here. And I gotta say, this last night, we got to backtrack a little bit. So basically, the BDR route comes up this way, and then we shot off about a mile off of a Forest Service road and found this spot. But the BDR continues past the reservoir. I don't know if the GoPro is picking it up, but there it's up there. And the little bit of snow on the snow layer for Gaia that we hit was accurate. It's much worse up that way. So we came up here. We're going to spend the night. The good thing is we're pretty close to the first regular campsite we have to stay at. So we don't have to get up super early. We don't have to rush. So yeah, our last night. What an adventure. We can't wait to take account what, everything that happened and what we might do different on the next one. But for our first overlanding experience, it's been awesome. It's been really, really awesome. Is that all your poop back there?
I just shot my butt.